Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you another video. All right, so this is a therapy session, no basketball, though. I'm in a pretty good mood. Just got through having a conversation. Not really a conversation, but I got looped in with my uncle and a few of my other family members for a Bible study. I was actually just calling my uncle to update him on what was going on with my situation this upcoming week, but as I was calling him, timing would have it that it was the exact moment he was starting his Bible study. So he asked me if I wanted to get looped in. I think he expected me to say no, but the way I've been feeling, yeah, put me, let me in on the prayers. And it was just great because my other uncle was also on there, my grandfather's brothers, and I hadn't spoke to him in a while. He was actually coming from the Kings Warriors game 7, believe it or not. So they're big Sacramento Kings fans. I know they're not having a good time with that, but yeah, shout out to my family, Uncle Merle and Uncle Thurman, everybody over there. I don't know if they would ever see this video, but I certainly made a therapy session right after I got off the phone with y'all and carried that good energy that they gave me. You know, I was calling up with just preparation energy, really, to tell my family, yo, this is what's going on for Wednesday, the court situation. But God had bigger plans, man. I didn't even want to talk about that. And the funny thing was, is when I called my uncle, I think I just got through watching the game or something like that. And I don't remember exactly how it went, but it was as if at that moment the Lord said, all right, you got the strength to call. Because I hadn't all week long, all month long, had the strength to really tell him, hey, yo, this is what's going on. Last time I talked to my uncle, I was at the library trying to fill out paperwork going to the court. So I hadn't spoken to him since. I just been dealing with this alone, you know what I mean? And in such a very unfortunate way, not really helping myself, not really doing nothing to really bring myself any support in the situation. But for some reason today, I just felt, you know, let me just call my family and just let them know what's ahead so they're not caught off guard in any way. You know, even though they know something's coming, they don't know exactly what it is and how dire my situation is and how much I'll probably be asking for their help, whether or not they choose to give it to me. Their business, of course, but you know, it's bad. It's my fault. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, what can I say, man? We gotta own everything, you know. At the end of the day, I made some very tough decisions that I stood on and stand on to this very second, and I'm holding on for dear life. But didn't handle it in a sane way, honestly. And I don't blame myself for that too much, as I've already talked to you guys about that in very recent therapy sessions. But at the same time, still got to deal with those consequences. So I'm just looking for some inner strength to just snap out of what is so very comfortable to me, which is staying in a shelter that's literally being ripped away from me. And then from there to try to adhere to whatever deadlines may be necessary with the mindset that I have with the help that may or may not be there, you know. And I called my buddy who took me to the courtroom last time, and his car is not going to be available this go round, so I got to find my way there, which shouldn't be too bad. But it's at the same time, it's like, you take it to the account my mindset and how I've been in this house for months on end. It's just really, really nerve-wracking for me at this point, as you guys already know. So, you know, I've been talking to God this morning. I've just been telling him, you know, most of the time when I get to points like these, I usually turn away from God and my faith wanes and end up, you know, all these different things that just aren't positive for me. And I'm just tired of doing that. I'm tired of responding to my sadness the same ways I normally do. I don't want to be, you know, in the mindset where I'm like, oh, I want to die. And I don't even want to go there. That's so lame at this point. It doesn't bring me anything that I ultimately want. If I'm not going to do it, gotta find a solution. So it's like, if anything, I just want to address what it is I've been telling myself I need to address, but have been failing to. And it's like, the closer I get to Wednesday, the more I realize that my mental health is in dire need of addressing, regardless of whether or not I identify with what I'm saying as something that should be acted upon, but more so just looking at the evidence, everything I've gone through, and realizing that anybody would need to talk to someone after going through what I've been through. And that's just what I need to kind of let myself be okay with. I think the fear of medication, being put on medication, is a concern. Being told that there's nothing wrong with me is also something that I fear greatly. And that is two very contrasting things, but those are two of the biggest fears I have about seeing this process through. It's once they do sit down and talk to me, they just sit there and say, well, there's actually nothing wrong with you. You just really are a lazy person and really are just in need of an opportunity to just be a man, go out and get a damn job and keep it for the rest of your life, or whatever reality there would be for me if there's nothing wrong with my mental health, which doesn't seem likely to me given my behavior as a self-aware human being. I don't think there's anything sane about any of this. But at the same time, it's like I've yet to help myself by getting the help that may or may not be available to me, by seeking it out fully. And I've taken some steps but never followed through. And when I needed to follow through this week, I've been so stressed that the last thing I wanted to do is go toward anything that would stress me, which is anything at all at this point. So I don't know how I'm going to bring myself to go to the courtroom on Wednesday. Sunday night right now. I don't know how I'm going to bring myself to do it, but I know I will be there to the best of my ability. And the anxiety of it all just is something that I don't wish upon my worst enemy, to be honest with you. I don't like really expressing to people just how weak I feel in regards to these things, but I guess that's the point of these therapy sessions, is to be honest and upfront about these feelings. But it's just no peace in my head in regards to what needs to happen. Everything that I look at is something I either don't want to do or being forced out of something, and all I see is just 5 minutes left to relax, and then an unprecedented amount of pain after that lasts maybe as long as I allow it to, until I can dig myself out of the hole, for which, if I had an opportunity to do so mentally, if I allowed myself to, I would have never found myself in the hole to begin with. So it just becomes in a deep abyss of despair that only is saved by the moment that is fleeting with my apartment and my space that I've learned to love so very much. And to be as weak as to not see the urgency, to let myself get to a point where bills are not even something I consider. It's just, you get what comes with that, of course, and I deserve these consequences, unfortunately, for that neglect, even if it's not necessarily something that I otherwise felt I could handle all of the time throughout this process. I just wish I could have gotten help years ago, so I had some paperwork to back up these feelings. But if I had that paperwork, I probably wouldn't have turned on this camera, because it's the only reason why I ever did start these therapy sessions, because I didn't have that paperwork. And I was hopeful that this would be evidence enough, that all of these documented moments of me displaying my real life mindset in a real life moment 300 times or so, however many it is at this point, would leave enough evidence that maybe my childhood, or that my, childhood transcripts from school maybe just didn't tell enough of a story about how very little I was present for anything, really anything. And so my grown life has been the same as my childhood life, and I knew one day, eventually, there would be no mommy to pay the bills, no, unemployment checks to come through, and all these different things that I've been able to enjoy up until this moment. It's just run out of road. I've run out of road, you guys. And all the times I used to complain about where we get to this point, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to stay in this house. This is not sustainable. God bless those people. They didn't file any paperwork on me for over a year. And all I want to do is pay these people, I swear to you guys. The most important thing to me is giving them their money and paying off all my debt and going back to zero. But the reality is I just got screwed. As you guys already know, the freaking corruption is real, man. You throw your money in the AMC, and where we are right now, it's just not where we need to be. Forget the FUD aspect of it, not telling the people not to be a part of the movement, but it's just where you are, what the calendar says and what the stock price says on the calendar. And in April 30th, the stock price does not say anything favorable for what it is that I need it to say. And so that's all it is, man. It's just not the right day. Maybe another day the squeeze would be commenced and all of this would save me from myself. But if I can't get an influx of money, I really don't have a leg to stand on with these people in this court situation. There's no leg. And I called my uncle to let him know I was going to have this court date. And basically tell him that. But I never got a chance to say that because after we had the therapy session, everybody hung up from the group line and I didn't talk to them again. I didn't call back because it took enough courage to call once. I ain't about to call back. And see, that's the point. That is literally the point. Every bit of what it takes to do what it needs to do, what I need to do, takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of fortitude. It takes a lot. The weakness within. It's easy to turn on this camera and display myself to 500 people and talk about the Lakers, to God knows who. And to tell you, God knows what I'm saying right now. I could open my mouth and be free with others, but when it comes to just talking to one-on-one people in situations where it's business or it's involved with me having to leave or do this, I have so many different mental hurdles for so many different things that involve me handling my business. Mental hurdles for getting on the bus, mental hurdles for just being at work, various things that I tell myself I won't do that have just manifested into some very, very weak ways. And I'm not ashamed of it because at the end of the day, if I'm going to defeat it, I can't defeat it with shame. I can't defeat it with blame. I can't necessarily defeat it with holding myself contempt, I guess you could say, for my weaknesses. I got to find another way. If I thought that would work, I would. You understand what I'm saying? I tried blaming myself. I tried shaming myself. That's the voice that kept me dormant. That's the voice that kept me from moving. You know, the only thing that works is prayer, and that's what he was saying in the Bible study. Essentially, what he was saying to all of us, my uncle was, is he was speaking, because that's kind of how the format is. He just reads a little bit of the Bible and then proceeds to talk about what they had been discussing for weeks on end. I just happened to peek in this week, but the message was about as clear as some of the things that I say on this camera. It was almost like he was echoing some of my own thoughts. And you know, I'm from his family, so of course these things get passed from my mother to me, and you know, his mom, my dad. You know how that goes. Family just pass the same thoughts, but this is how it goes. It's like, you know, prayer defeats depression. That's my message to you guys. Like prayer and praying for others to empower your energy to be better with, you know, and to give credit to the Most High in regards to healing you and different things like that, and all of that stuff that we often talk about. But just more so, just praise is a means of healing. When you're thinking about depressing thoughts, you think about falling, succumbing, or what have you, just turning to realizing who God is and what he can do for you, and all those different things that we've kind of talked about and hinted about on various therapy sessions as I've vented over the course of the last year and a half. And it was just a reiteration of what it is that it brought me the strength to jump into the things that I've jumped into and to get this far in the circumstance that I've gotten. The reason why I haven't crumbled a million times before this moment is because I was praying. The reason why I felt strong enough to even hold those shares or even buy them after having that situation with the buy button be removed, to feel comfortable enough to really see this process through for 2 long years, and to find myself a couple of days away from where my situation being as it is, and to still be gung-ho about holding those shares. It took prayer to even develop that desire. It took prayer to even be strong enough to sacrifice all of this, to deal with all that I've dealt with in the process, to let all of it that has been sacrificed, or rather let go of, be lived without. Prayer has made it so that I've been able to even be able to swallow the circumstances I find myself in, to be able to live in this moment. You know, on top of that, feel as accomplished as I have with the things that I've been able to do in this household. Prayer brought me to all of them. Prayer brought me to the art, brought me to everything, to the workout methods, to making this channel and value in my voice, and the saying things of substance, and trying to keep my curses down, various things. It all started from an understanding that the Lord had a path and a plan for me, and I haven't seen it through yet. And that even though I'm going through whatever it is that I'm going through, as I'm going through it, I can find a way to help somebody else, that I can turn my pain into some process, something for someone else to process in a positive way, perhaps. These are things that my uncle could kind of hint around that in regards to the point that he was making. It was almost like some of that was what it was he was conveying to me. It was almost like God put that in his mind to share and remind me of what it is I really need, as opposed to what it is I think I may need in the next coming days. We're talking about how you had been through certain things. One of the people I mentioned, I don't know who it was, but you had been through certain things already, and you feel like when you go through something else, you have to remind yourself of what you already been through. When you go through certain trials, you have to almost take yourself back to an even worse trial to remind yourself that you've been through worse, and to remind yourself what it takes to get through this. And so a lot of that just kind of related to what I'm feeling right now, because that's what it is. I've been through certain things like this, but it feels like I'm weaker now than I was then. It feels like I'm in a less position to handle it now than I was then, and I don't know that that's how that works when you have certain experiences. But all in all, I've just lulled myself into a space of comfort, deep weakness and comfort, in the presence of all the different things that I've manifested on top of that, just by waiting on something that has never come. And I'm also very inspired by the fact that in the presence of that has come this desire to be a leader in this channel, creative in various other ways. I don't really feel like I know how best to behold what's going on here with myself. So on one hand, I feel very accomplished. On the other hand, I feel like a failure. And none of which is anything I can hang my hat on because of the possibility of things changing in a moment's notice. I'm in one of the most confusing times of my life. And talking to my uncle, or listening to him rather, made me feel a lot better. I just wanted to share that with you guys, because sometimes it gets to a point where I think the isolation and the desire to be alone, desire to hear people talking at me but not necessarily talking with me, it's becoming a little too normal. I turn on YouTube and listen to all different types of people having conversations that I'm not a part of, but then feel unique when I'm on the phone with someone who can actually hear me speak back. It's very strange how that works, man. But at the end of the day, I just want to be free of all of this. There's two things that I really want right now, honestly. The ability to be free of financial debt, and the ability to be free of mental weaknesses and blockages and defensive mechanisms that serve me not. Those are the two things that I want. Peace of mind, and just the ability to not have these looming stresses that continue to hang over my head as a result of being in this financial space, holding these shares and trying my very best not to go back into working situations, where I have to test myself once again to be in these spaces that I've all long told myself that I'll never do again. And so I've prayed greatly that the Lord keep me out of those spaces, and I don't know what it's going to take to keep me out of those spaces further, but the fact that I'm not welcoming those spaces, I think, is damaging, as I've said once before, and I'd like to help get my mind right in regards to that too. So I don't know what's going to happen next. I need so much, and I wish I was in a position to give so much more than what it is that I need. I am working in all of these different ways in hopes of putting myself in a position to do those very things, but my talent feels real to me, but my success feels like heaven away. People say heaven's so far away. That's how far some basic luxuries feel to me, based on the mental hurdles that I have and the realities of my positioning. I don't even know what else to say about myself. I'm just frustrated and hopeful that whatever's going to flush me out of this house will flush me toward those successes, and not toward whatever would be further mediocrity, further laziness, I guess you could say. I'd also like to utilize my time better. I'd like to develop better cleaning habits around the house. I'd like to develop more of what it is that I thought I couldn't develop, which was like workout habits and time away from poor recreational stuff that didn't provide any creativity whatsoever. Video games and crap like that. Further time away from that stuff is what I'm saying. I want to be continuing my artistic journey in this life, very much so, in every way I'm doing it. And it's as comfortable as I feel on this camera. I don't see myself getting away from this. I don't see, like, I found so much peace now in doing what I'm doing here that this is almost like a church sanctuary-ish type thing for me. Never mind that this could be like the whole world on the other end of this thing someday. That is not even registering. All I'm feeling right now is some type of way of comfort in myself now that I've gotten used to doing this, just like any other conditioning of the mind. And that's something for me. Over conditioning, just being too monotonous. I'm very much a monotonous person, and if I just had the right practices, I could build a pyramid with my consistency. I mean, I really believe that. So I did my squat regimen today. I think that counted to be 1758. I think that's what it is. It's like the type of stuff that I'm trying to be on these days is more of the same. You start small and then you build up to astronomical places in regards to what you're doing. Art is built the same way in regards to me, man. Music, everything it's a built type of mentality. I'm building upon everything. Everything is just being stacked upon. But if only I had the same mentality as it pertained to money. My problem with money is I just hate how people get it. I hate how it's used to leverage people against their passions, leverage people into exploiting their passions, and all different various things people do to get money, to give away money. It's how easy it is to comes to some, how hard it is for others. The more you have, the easier it is to make money out of nothing. The less you have, it's impossible to turn a little into a lot. There's just so much wrong with that whole thing that it just makes you want to rebel against it to no end, man. I feel like I'm the only person left on earth that just wants to stay away from all of that. I take pride in doing things for free. And I know I'm in a whole entire world where I'm shunned for that, where I'm looked at as an absolutely disrespectful, disturbingly crazy, all of that for being this way. It's unwise. You're giving away art for free. People are going to take your stuff and make money off of it. All of it's wrong. Everything about how I feel is against the way this earth is supposed to spin as it pertains to the way that men and women work. And that's why I rebel just the same. It's why. It's because there's nothing here other than to chase money. Like, you have to. But if you look at what people are doing to get money, you understand that most of it is not on the up and up. It's some wrong in like 9 out of 10 transactions. And if it ain't nothing wrong with that transaction, there's something wrong with the transaction that led to that transaction, because money is evil. And the fact that I need evil is something that should be shunned with every fiber of my being. Why would I need evil? What the heck is that about? You see what I'm saying? And we wake up to understand that this is just the world we're in. Capitalism makes it work and everybody's happy because you can do good things with money. But what about the bad things that are happening while money's not going to where it needs to go? And we say this all the time. I'm supposed to be able to be okay with that. If I get a lot of it, I'm supposed to be okay with it now when I don't have any of it. It doesn't add up to its mind to mine. And hoarding it or going after it or trying to kill myself or others to get it just seems like more of reinforcement of the same thing. And nobody's on board with this. Nobody's on board with this because it makes sense to no one. Not even me when I'm sitting here in the situation I'm in. And yet I don't see no solution to the evil that is done around the making of money and the giving away of one's life and soul and effort and energy and distance that you'll put between yourself and all good things just to believe in the ability to get money or keep it from others or whatever people be on, man. And I just feel like, there is power, literal power, in the discarding of the need for that. I can't be bought. What can you do to me? It's like a force field for freakery, without saying the worst word. You know what I mean? It's a force field for it. If I could overcome the need for any dollars, I could create the best possible stuff from within myself. Now, granted, you need money to make other things better, but the point is, I can't be influenced in any way. You can't tell me I can't say that. You can't tell me I can't do this. You can't do anything to me. You can't buy me. You can't buy the people around me. None of that. If I'm not bought by money, you will be forced to just be on the up and honest with me. You will have to be. You'll be forced to just deal with me or not in one way or another, because you can't buy me. And everything around us is bought. Everybody's bought. Everything is just compromised until it's not. And everything that comes with that, it just seems to be unacceptable left and right. Unacceptable over there. Unacceptable over there. Unacceptable over here. Why is this going on? Because of money. Why is that going on? Because of money. Is anybody going to stop and say, yo, yeah, we need this stuff, but there has to be some leverage above it so that we can hold ourselves just righteous? Because if nothing holds us righteous in regards to what we're doing in regards to money, then where does this end? It's building towards something. This capitalism builds towards something. Eventually, we're going to be selling our kids. It's just going to sell ourselves back into slavery once again. Are we not? It doesn't really end, does it? The ambition of money. We just continue to tell ourselves we have it under control while we watch it not be under control all over the world, man. I just feel like I want to be the great leverage against that and go into my grave having no need for chasing that crap. While the rest of you guys sell your souls and your time, sitting yourselves in horrible circumstances for your whole lives. And it's like it's worth it if you have kids. See, that's the beauty of capitalism. It keeps you going because you're going to use that money for good things. You're going to use that money to flourish your family. You're going to use that money for this and that. And the money's going to be used for the evil it's done. And you're not supposed to care because you're just one person and you're not supposed to take on the world, right? No one is supposed to be strong enough to take on the world's problems. And that's why the world's problems defeat the world itself. Because no one appears to be strong enough to fall on the sword in any of these problems. So we just give them to our kids and hopefully they'll be strong enough, right? There's no solution to this. None. There's a million people laid out on a corner with nothing because they felt the same way I do. There's no solution to this. You just got to sell out. And I've been putting it off every single day I can. And AMC gave me an opportunity to just cheat the game entirely. I don't need this. I don't need none of this. I could live like Jaden Smith and just be cool and be happy and cry on a field somewhere because I got money. You understand what I'm saying? Like literally money can make you be compassionate to the world or numb altogether. You understand what I'm saying? When you broke, you don't have like your heart, it gets in the way. Your compassion, you want to be good, you want to give, you don't have nothing to give. I want to help with Flint water crisis. I want to. I'd love to. I ain't got nothing to give them. And can't build my way out of this situation unless I do something evil to get my money. So I'm going to do, go outside, get roped into what? Hopefully I'm not a rat. Do 35 years. Maybe I'll get out by I'm 70, something like that, right? That might give me enough money if I can survive it. Now, what are we talking about? What are we even talking about? And so that's why I just get to a point where I'm like, man, if God would just allow us to just feel what we feel, you know what I mean, as it pertains to wanting to lead the earth, man. If it wasn't such a bad thing, I'd want to get the hell out of here, man. I'm telling y'all. Because it ain't a whole lot that makes sense to me. And it ain't a whole lot of ways to get to heaven from where I'm at. Ain't a whole lot. I gotta go to hell to get to heaven, it feels like for me. That's what it feels like. And look, maybe there's better ways than what I see in my head. Y'all know how I am. But at the same time, I know how I am too. And it becomes a situation where it's like, because I look at things the way that I do and have been right a lot of the times when other people weren't looking at what I was looking at, it gets to a point where you trust yourself even in situations where it looks like you're talking crazy. You just learn to trust yourself. And that's where I'm at when it comes to certain things. I've prayed a great deal about a lot of things. But money, only as it pertains to asking the Lord to help me hold my shares. Because money, at the end of the day, I've seen so many people get paid and then die. Like literally die, bro. Because just the strain of having money turns them into somebody that just overindulges on the worst things that they would possibly love. If they're a drug addict, they overindulge on the drugs. If they sex addict, they overly indulge on the sex. If they, you know what I mean? That's all that money ends up doing to people sometimes, unless they are self-motivated to do something with the money itself, unless they're motivated to work. If you're not motivated to work, money's just going to kill you. I look around at a guy like 50 Cent. What has he got, $1 billion by now? And all he's doing is investing in himself. He just bought himself almost 1 million square foot acres land to do more studio work, to do more movie stuff. It's like, if you're not investing in yourself, what are you doing? So that's what I've been doing. Investing in myself, not by way of money, but taking my time. Working my progressions. Stealing that back from corporate world environment. You must pay this. You got to check in with us on that. I said, I ain't doing none of that for at least 2 years. Let me hold my shares. That's my money right there. I'm going to do everything else. And I'm not going to sell it. I'm not going to promote it. I'm not going to do any of this stuff that's supposed to be algorithmically in position for you to benefit off of me, trying to benefit off of me. Ain't doing none of that. I'm breaking that in half. I'm giving all of my stuff away for free, and I'm going to let influence take over as it does. Let suggestion be the currency itself. Let influence be what it is that we're aiming for, not the numbers. The influence itself. People just taking substance from what it is I say and doing things with that in their own way. And as I see it, as I suggest things toward the Lakers and I see them manifest those things toward the Lakers, I understand that's what real manifestation is. It's not just saying things to yourself. You say things to others. Go get us some young players. Yeah, you see them get some young players like, yo, I don't know if this is real or not, but dang it, I'm doing it. And so this is how I look at it. It's like, man, I don't want to ask for things that are just going to make me happy. I want to ask for things that will make a lot of people happy. You know, when I sit up here and say I want to manifest success, it's because I'm thinking about doing like 50's doing. You know how many people are going to go to work because of what he's doing there? He could take that money and bury it underground if he wanted to, but no, he's going to turn it into something else. Saw Tyler Perry do the exact same thing. Now we're going to keep on doing it. Keep investing in ourselves. So that's what I need to do. Continue to invest in myself. Anywhere I'm at, I just need to continue to be able to do what I'm doing. And that's what I'm praying for. That's what I'm trying to manifest. That's what I'm trying to talk into this camera and suggest to others. Like, look, I'm somebody that's really dedicated to the work as it pertains to what it is that I'm doing. But as it pertains to doing anything that leads up to doing it to get the money that I need to get the money, I don't have the strength. I have the strength to do this every day and be good at it too. So that's just a frustrating thing for somebody like myself who loves the idea of being better in that way, but hates the idea of what his life looks like if he jumps back into that world. 9 to 5, 12 an hour. I almost don't think I'll survive it. I almost don't think I'll survive to get on the bus, go to work thing. I don't think that I will want to be alive very long. After living like this, I ain't gonna want to do that. And so that's what it really comes down to. It's like I'm just asking the Lord to get me from point A to point B. Get me from where I am under this cover, talking on this phone, to you guys, to where I'm going to be after all of this crap that I'm stressing over is over. If I can just get a fast forward, that would be great. You know what I'm saying? So, not that is coming. It is what it is. So, you know what I'm saying, man? I just wanted to get on here and give myself another therapy session and get back into the swing of things. That's really what these last couple of days has been about. It's just getting back into the swing of things. Just praying a little more. Listen a little more. You know, as I did, call my uncle. It's little baby steps, man. Applying for the, Chase situation, as I told you guys, trying to get them to give me my damn CD money. All these different things that just I would not have done, man. Paying my bill on time with T-Mobile, stuff like that. It's just, you just get to a point where you find that how to shorten your own headaches. That's what I'm doing. I'm finding very obvious but not so obvious to me ways of making my life easier and trying to apply that and hopefully develop that new consistency that I can be married to later on that will really help me, just like I did with these things that I've developed as of late. And so I think my weaknesses are not a reflection of me being a weak person. I just feel like I'm in a weak space, getting stronger by the second. And as long as I'm continuing to apply faith and praise, I think I can overcome the depression that comes from these difficult times. And so that's what my uncle was talking about. That's what's on my mind. And that is where my head is now. I hope that everybody's having a fantastic time wherever you are in your life watching this. I find myself very thankful that I'm not in pain. You know what I mean? I think of different things that could be on top of what it is I'm going through. And then I just think about all the different things that the Lord has done leading up to this, different confirmations that I gotten spiritually that I was doing the right thing. And then I told you guys about many times it ultimately gets to this point where it feels like it's all falling apart and all of that felt like it was fake. And it just feels like there's still more to see. There's still more time left on the clock, even though I got this coming up. There's just more going on in regards to what the Lord is trying to get me to understand. And so as I look up and I find myself asking for the right timing and to put me where I need to be at the exact moment I need to be at, I just understand that the Lord had me call my uncle at the exact moment that he was starting up that therapy session. That just reminds me of the timing that I've always been aligned with. You know, even if I'm doing things that don't feel quite right, he's still going to make sure I'm where I need to be at the right time. So that's what I try to tell you all, just the same, man. Keep your prayer life going. Ask for that timing. Try to see it in your life. Try to read the signs, so to speak. I think I'm getting better at that too, low key. Just looking at various different things and then just kind of acting as I see the hints of those things telling me to. And I've enjoyed the results. You know, like for example, a song will say, get the food out the fridge, and I'll go get the food out the fridge at that moment because, you know, that's a sign. Like, that little stuff has been serving me well lately. Doing a little reading into life that way. It hasn't led me wrong yet. So that's what it is, man. I'm playing it by fumes. Playing it by ear rather, running on fumes, whatever. But I'm playing it by ear as it pertains to what's going on Wednesday. And of course, I'll be giving you guys therapy sessions anytime I feel anxious. I'm pretty sure I'll be very anxious leading up into this. But this gives me peace. This is my sanctuary here. So hopefully it'll serve us all in the long run, because that's what it's about, man. And so, yeah, that's what I got to say, man. Nothing else on my mind. It's Sunday night. 2 more days in this apartment without understanding. After that, we'll know what's going on, and then we'll be talking about entirely different stuff. And we'll be looking forward to having content on the road and all different types of things as I go into the next chapter of my life, whatever it will be. You know, the funny thing is, to say that I'm scared is just an understatement. I live in constant fear, to be honest with you. Just off of sheer anxiety and what's the word? A desire to be sheltered and comforted or what have you. It's a deep fear that you live with all your life that never quite leaves your shoulders, never quite leaves your neck area. It's always there. And so to say I'm afraid is just to tell you I'm alive. But the reality is, I don't feel the type of fear that I probably should based on what it is that I'm going through. I don't know if it's because I've never gone through this bad, or if it's because I just feel like the Lord's going to swoop up and fix up my problems like he always does in some miraculous way. I'm spoiled by life, not really quite getting as bad as it often does. But to be honest with you, man, I just tell myself that if it's going to get too bad, that I just quit. I always tell myself that, even if I don't have it in my heart to actually do that. There's just certain things that I believe that I just won't settle for. Realities that I just will not survive through. And so that's just something I want people to know as they watch me on this camera and as I struggle. And I talk about my mental health. People wonder where I'm at, where I'm headed, what's going on. I just really want to fix that. I really, really want to know what's going on with me and to know that I am either okay or not okay, so that these feelings that I have don't lead me astray. That's really what it comes down to. Because it gets tough, man, trying to surmise what the hell is going on with yourself and then trying to psych yourself into thinking that you're just lazy or incompetent or just not a man, when you know it's deeper than that. In another side of your heart, you know it's deeper than that. You know it's not as simple as you just falling short. But you have no proof. You have nothing to show anybody else, and you're not close enough to anybody for anybody to really know what the hell's going on with you. So it's just one of those situations where you feel misunderstood by the entire circumference of people you would be able to speak with. They just ain't gonna understand it. And everybody who's behaved like you doesn't have what you have going on. They have other traits that make them someone that I'm not when behaving this way. And so that's really tough too. So that's why I'm so thankful that I have all of you, because you guys get the most consistency out of me. Nobody in my life really knows me like y'all do, as I told you in the last video. So thanks for being here for me. Thanks for all the support you guys continue to give me. And whatever time in life you are in, just know that I'm sending you good energy from this moment. We'll get through what we're getting through together. Trust and believe that. BDF 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.